Andy had quite a talk with you about things that happened a long time ago, and I was asking him if he remembered to ask you about some of the things I remember, like when you went to country school. The thing we always chuckled about was your spelling contest, and you didn't tell him that.
A what?
Your spelling contest.
Sound?
No, your spelling contest.
Oh, spell. I'd be foolish about that.
Well, I thought it was funny.
I suppose he knows what it was.
I don't think he does.
I don't.
No, tell him about it.
Well, they said to spell key, and I said key. Didn't I say key way? And the teacher didn't like that, so I couldn't understand why. What I did wrong, I didn't realize. I said it was key-y instead of K-E-Y. Oh dear.
Then when you went to school, didn't you say you used to walk across the field?
Yeah.
To go to school and carry your lunches?
Yeah.
And what did you have for lunch, remember?
Oh, usually bread with syrup because I didn't like lard. Sister Mary and Ed, they put lard on their bread instead of butter.
And sometimes didn't they eat those cracklings too from the rendered lard?
Yeah, they taste good when you're just fresh.
And then you told about your teacher who liked to comb your hair, didn't she?
Yeah, she liked to see my braids. She'd braid them, my hair braids, and then braid it up again so she'd take them apart and look at it.
Yeah, because you had such heavy hair.
Yeah.
Well, then you didn't tell Andy either about how you did get married and where you went. I thought it was interesting to him as long as he lives in Fairmont.
Yeah. I had that piece saved and I thought it was in one of those jewelry boxes the other day when we were looking. I didn't see it in there. Oh, we went to there and, well, how was that?
To Fairmont, to
Found out that
the courthouse?
had to have a license. Didn't have any, so they phoned to Jackson and helped us out that way. They got the license sent up on the 3 o'clock passenger train in the afternoon.
Could you imagine driving 30 miles horse and buggy and then driving back to get the license? Well, then when you were married now for a while, your first place was near Petersburg, wasn't it? The Kanabe farm or something?
Yeah.
Were you there just a couple of years?
Yeah, a couple. Well, we weren't there the 2 full years, but we raised 2 crops there.
And then you moved 2 miles west and 2 south where Leroy's Earth Dome home is now. But then I was the 5th child, and when I was 1 year old, that's when you had the tragedy.
Yeah, the house.
I mean, I wasn't the tragedy, the house.
Yeah, the neighbor lady used to have an incubator hatching chicks, and she wanted to sell it, and we thought we'd try it. And then no hens would accept the chicks, so Dad bought a brooder stove, they called it. And World War II was on then. And we baked a cake that day, and after we set up that to sell at the auction at the school, and took jar of pickles and things to sell at have a sale at the school for Red Cross, you know. And when we was coming home there, the house was burning. But they'd tried to save it, but there was no electricity around, no lights, no nothing, so.
And that was the time that in the excitement, Dad was trying to grab things, so he grabbed the keys to the house. and saved them. I remember him telling that.
I kind of forgot about that.
Yeah, we always laughed at himself
They
with that.
saved a lot of groceries that we had to buy a lot of that cheap flour substitute.
Oh, really?
And they saved a lot of them, but all the bedding and things weren't.
Then that was where we all grew up.
Yeah, well, that was in 1918 when Roy was at World War I, or World War II, I mean.
And then all of us kids grew up there, and that house, I remember you always said was designed by men because it was poorly arranged. There were just 3 rooms downstairs and 3 up.
And we slept in the granary. And
Remember after thrashing, we used to get the ticks out and fill them with straw for our mattresses.
yeah, that was on the first year we was married, if we had to do that.
And then they would last.
And then we had to do it again after the house burned. We had a straw tick full of straw, and Emma and Hans Splendor was gonna stay with us when they were coming home from town, and Emma and I laid on the bed, and or straw tick, you know, full of straw, and something kept moving in that straw. And Emma looked, and there was a chicken caught.
Oh, a chicken?
Yeah, him.
Oh,
Next
dear.
to the hen house, you know, in
Oh, for land's sake. Well, that's where we really all grew up.
the granary. Yeah.
And then the farm, like most farms, there was everything, wasn't there? There was livestock and farming with horses. You had chickens and pigs and cows and
Ducks and geese.
yeah, and they milked the cows and you made your own cottage cheese and
Own butter.
our own butter. We churned, and there was no refrigeration, there was no electricity, no running water in the house. In fact, you didn't get that in the house till after we were married. That's where the family all grew up.
Big 6 great big loaves of bread every, I don't know, every 80 days or so. I don't remember.
You usually baked bread about 3 times a week, and that would be 6 big loaves and then 3 or 4 round ones and biscuits, and there were no plastic bags. We wrapped them in dish towels, but they only lasted about 2 or 3 days anyway. And in those days, then for the thrashing, they had steam engines and big thrashing crews, and Dad was the engineer. Remember how he used to get up at 4:35 in the morning and fire up the steam, and then when it was time for the thrashers to come, then he would blow the whistle and you could hear it all over the neighborhood, and the thrashers would all come.
A rainy spell come, and you'd have the hired men that pitch the bundles, you know, from the stacks or shacks, whichever.
And then there'd be big dinners we'd fix for probably
Dinner,
20
those
men, 18, 20 men, probably.
I don't remember how many there was.
And for washing clothes, at first you had just a hand wash scrub board, I suppose, and then later you got the gasoline engine ran the washing machine. That sat outside on the ground with the belt running up onto the machine on the porch.
One time the wind blew and the belt come off, it almost tipped it over.
Oh dear. And then you did all the sewing, didn't you, for all the kids?
I remember one year I made myself a coat, and I don't know whether all of you girls, I don't remember that no more. Mary Ann used to make herself coats, I know.
But then with the 4 girls, I know things just passed on and down from one to the next.
Yeah.
So then it was 1952 when Dad died. Then you stayed on the farm with Leroy.
But they called him into service shortly after
that's
that,
right.
too.
And then Harry and Mary moved on that farm for a while.
Yeah,
Until,
while he was in service.
yeah. And then
And
after that, you moved into town.
Yeah,
You had an apartment first, didn't you?
yeah.
Then you moved into this house in what,
56, the 13th of June.
June 13th,
That'll be next month.
56. That's been a long time. Well, now you come back and there are more grandchildren and great-grandchildren than we can count. There are close to 40, I think, grandchildren and almost about as many great-grandchildren.
Oh, I rented some rooms when I first come here. And I just quit not too long ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. But it's nice to be with this, it was close to downtown, so that
Yeah,
It
well,
was
the
a
post
nice
office used to
location.
be here, close by,
yeah, then you could,
and the church I could walk to. And the grocery store used to be close to then too.
mm-hmm.
So I got along pretty good then. It's just the last couple of years. They have to bring the groceries Sunday.
Well, of course, at 93, you should be out there gardening and plowing it up and everything.
Yeah. Well, last summer I didn't do much anymore.
No, but you've done real well.